Hey Ridgepoint, welcome back and thank you so much for joining us. We've got another fun message to share with you today in a bit of a different format from usual. This week we're in week 2 of our new series, Deep and Wide. This exciting season where we're launching 2 huge projects at once, our Grow Groups and our Sending Service, to help us grow deeper and wider in our faith and in our impact. Last week we skipped the typical sermon for an extended Q&A about our Sending Service and what a potential multi-site campus might look like. Now, if you missed it, I encourage you to go check it out. This week, we're doing something similar. I will join Pastor Brent and Pastor Kyle, our next gen pastor, to tell you all about our new Grow Group ministry. And here's one of the big things that we keep saying. As our church grows bigger, we also need to grow smaller. True growth, real life change, and real friendships happen best in smaller groups where you can talk about life together. So whether you've been at Ridgepoint a while and you're looking for a next step, or maybe you're brand new just checking us out, I'm convinced a Grow Group could be the perfect next step for you. So let's dive into all the details now with Pastor Brent and Pastor Kyle for week 2 of Deep and Wide.
This past week, a number of us from Ridgepoint attended our Mennonite Brethren National Conference in Salt Lake City, Utah, where we have a fair number of Mennonite Brethren churches. And so churches from across the nation met together. And I tell you, it was just so encouraging to hear the stories of other churches. And I walked away, not just benefiting from that, but I walked away just so thankful for you, so thankful for Ridgepoint, so thankful for everything that he's been doing, and thankful for what he's going to do here in our church. This fall, we are embarking on 2 really ambitious plans, steps of faith. And I think we're going to step in with risk and faith, and we're going to get to the end, and in a year, or we'll look back and we'll say the fall of 2006, that really changed our church. So we're calling it Deep and Wide. And these 2 initiatives are, we want to raise the bar and go deep, here's the language, deep in discipleship through small groups, and wide in impact through a 4th service on Sunday morning that will eventually be a Ridgepoint campus somewhere else in Wichita, all right? So last week we talked about the wide part, and in 4 weeks, August 23rd at 11 o'clock, we're launching a new service. Still have 8:15, 9:30, 11 o'clock here, but we're hoping for 100, 150 from this group and from the 11 o'clock service to jump into this 4th service. And in time, as God leads, that will become, a number of people from that service will jump in to start this new campus. So that was the focus last week. We did some Q&A at the end because you had lots of questions. Today, our focus is the deep in discipleship. A disciple is a follower of Jesus. So if you're a Christian, you are a disciple. You've been declared a follower. But to grow as a disciple, just like you grow in your devotion to your husband or your wife or your kids or your job, we want to grow in our devotion to Jesus. So discipleship is this journey of becoming more like Jesus. And there are all kinds of ways that we can become more like Jesus. Like, hey, you ought to be praying every day. You ought to be reading the Bible. We ought to be, we can do things on our own to become a little more like Jesus. But one of the most effective ways to go deeper in discipleship, to become more like Jesus, is to commit yourself to a small group of people who will meet regularly, to love each other, to study the Bible, to pray, to encourage each other, to care for each other, to confront each other, and together to become more like Jesus. Okay? And so our plan, our hope is that we are going to launch in September, we're going to launch 30 small groups, I think at a minimum. I hope we launch 40 or 50 small groups. We're calling them grow groups because we want to grow in our devotion to Jesus, grow in our commitment to each other. But we're going to start 30, 40, or 50 groups. Our church, like most churches, has struggled over the years to have a small group ministry with wide participation. But that's going to change. We're going to launch this. So this is the deep and wide. I'm excited about it, a tad bit scared, because it's a big risk and a big jump, but God is going to do great things. This morning, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about going deep in discipleship, and then we're going to have some Q&A to answer your question about how does this whole small group thing work, all right? Our text for today is Matthew 28, 18 through 20. We're going to start with verse 19 and the first part of verse 20. These are the words of Jesus after he died and rose again, and he was about to return to heaven. And he said this, "Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to observe or obey all that I have commanded you." So this is Jesus' mandate, his mission that he's giving us, his command. And he says, go, like you, go. This isn't written to people other than you. This is written to you, like go make a disciple, you. Now, how do you make a disciple? Because that's like our mission in life is to make disciples. How do you make a disciple? Well, remember, a disciple is a follower of Jesus. To become a follower of Jesus, you need to choose Jesus. That's why our mission statement here at Ridgepoint is helping people find Jesus and follow Jesus. Find and follow Jesus. Find him as their Savior, and then follow him in growing devotion as their Lord. And so you make disciples by doing whatever you can to convince people to bend their knee to Jesus as their Savior, and then doing everything you can to help us become more like Jesus. And so it says, go, make disciples, baptize them. One of the steps of a faithful follower of Christ is to get baptized. You already heard me. August 2, next Sunday, it's not too late. Get baptized. You need to do this. And then teaching them to obey. And in these small groups where you're sitting in a circle and you got the same 10 to 15 people every week, you're not sitting in rows looking at the back of the head in front of you. You're able to do things in a small group that you can't do in a large group, but together you become more like Jesus in small groups. It's always been the intention of God. Now, the reality is that this command, go and make disciples of all nations, is a tad bit big, like all nations. So fortunately, this overwhelming command, go and make disciples of all nations, is sandwiched between two wonderful truths. There's a declaration on the front end, and there's a promise on the back end. The declaration, Jesus says, this is verse 18, the verse just before what we read just now. Verse 18, Jesus says, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. What Jesus is saying is that he has the authority to tell you what to do with your life. He has that authority. Now, we have all kinds of people in our world that have various degrees of authority. Parents have some authority. Teachers have some authority. Police officers have some authority. Bosses and CEOs have some authority. Judges in a courtroom, they have authority. Kings and dictators, they have authority. So there's all kinds of people with various levels of authority that can, to some degree, say, I command that you do this. But Jesus, he has all authority in heaven and on earth. He has the authority to command us to do anything, and because he has all authority, our right The response is, yes, sir. Yes, Lord. But Jesus isn't some angry, corrupt, fallen, mean leader. He is the most benevolent, kind, holy, pure, never makes a wrong decision, never asks us to do anything except what we should do. And he's not standing there with some whip saying, go and make disciples. He's saying, come on, I saved your soul. Now let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this together. I have authority. And so when we resist what he's commanded us, we're resisting him and his authority. The other part that sandwiches the command to go and make disciples is a beautiful promise. And there Jesus says, I'm going to be with you. It's not like Jesus is going to say, go and do this. And then he steps aside and just crosses his arms and says, you're on your own. Of course, we have each other in this journey of trying to change the world, right? But Jesus said, never forget that I'm with you. I put the Holy Spirit in you. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. So I am a tad bit excited about the future of Ridgepoint. This deep and wide thing, it's big, but it's going to be good. And as we go deep in small groups and wide in a fourth service that'll lead to a campus somewhere in Wichita, I tell you, we're going to look back on the fall of 2026, and we're going to say, that season changed our church. And all of you look like a bunch of mannequins. But I know you're listening, and I want you to lean in on all this, okay? So last week we ended with some Q&A. People had all kinds of questions about this fourth service, this sending service, as we're calling it. Today, we're going to do a Q&A around small groups or our grow groups. So walking out on the stage are the Honorable Matt Ersman and Kyle Goings. So Matt is on staff, and he does all things communication and media and online and graphics. He's a gift to our church. And then we have Kyle Goings here. He's our next-gen pastor, but he's just been a gift because he has been the point leader on organizing this whole small group going deep in discipleship initiative. So Matt's going to explain how we're going to do the Q&A.
Yes, good morning, everybody. So if you're here last week, we did a very similar thing where we talked about the sending service last week, and we gave you a chance to ask questions. I think it went really well. We got over 100 questions last week, which I think is great. So we're going to do a very similar thing now where we're going to talk about grow groups. And so we've got 4 or 5 questions that we're kind of guessing are the things that are at the top of your mind. So we'll start with going through some of those questions. But as we're going, if you have specific questions about grow groups, how they're going to work, what they're going to look like, how to sign up, things like that, we'll get to most of them. But feel free to scan that QR code, or you can also just go to ridgepointwichita.com/Q for question. I'll keep an eye on the ones that come in here, and we will get to as many as we can. Okay? So first off, Brent, so we've talked a lot about small groups. We're calling these grow groups. So what is a grow group?
In its simplest form, a small group, and most churches have small groups, right? But a grow group, a small group, is a group of 10 to 15 people who commit themselves to regularly meeting, to study the Bible, to pray, to love and encourage each other, and to move together to make an impact on the world. So it's a group of 10 to 15 committed people who meet regularly together.
Good, very good. Let's see, what should we do next here? You mentioned that churches have always done some kind of small groups. We've done some kind of small groups for as long as Ridgepoint's been around. So how is grow groups different from any other kind of group that we've done in the past?
Well, there is a sense in which there's nothing new under the sun. You know, in Acts 20:20, it says that Paul preached publicly and from house to house. Since day one, the strategy of the church has been to meet in a big group where we can accomplish some things, but then also to meet in a small group. That's been the strategy since day one. And so in that sense, there's nothing new under the sun. But there are a couple of things that we are really emphasizing for our grow groups. And I'll mention the first, Kyle will tag with the second. The first one is to be up, in, and out. It's three directional. Now, nearly every small group that has ever met has done the up thing. Pray, read the Bible, study together, connect with God. And every small group cares for, that's the in, okay? We're adding a third direction, and every grow group is going to be lovingly held accountable to having an out project. It is so important that these grow groups not exist just for themselves, but they live beyond themselves. So up, study and pray, read the Bible, in, care for each other, and out. So every grow group will have some kind of an out project. We're going to give you a list of 50 possibilities, and there will be more, but an out project might be your grow group prays by name for every kids ministry volunteer. We have about 150 volunteers in our kids ministry. You will pray during the semester for everyone. That's your out. You're looking beyond yourself. Or your out ministry may be handing out water bottles to homeless under the bridges of Wichita. There's a wide variety, but up, in, and out is one of the unique DNAs of these grow groups. Every group will be three directions. And then there's a second thing.
Yeah, the other thing that's unique or distinctive is it's going to be semester-based. So kind of based on the school year, it'll be fall semester and then spring semester. So we'll have a sign-up period in August and a sign-up period in January. And the whole goal is think of like an interstate, okay? And so each semester, at the beginning and the end, you'll have people coming into the groups, and then you have people kind of leaving the groups. Because here's the thing. It's hard to get signed up if you don't know what is that commitment level. So, hey, could you join grow groups, and could you join for life? I don't know if a lot of people will do that. Maybe you, but I don't know if a lot of people would sign up for a lifelong grow group. Now, here's the thing. They might sign up for a semester, really, really enjoy it, and so, okay, let's continue on the second semester, and then third semester. And it might be years, maybe even decades, that these grow groups continue on. But we wanted to say, okay, can you sign up for a semester first? Meeting weekly, okay, for the fall semester, and then again for the second semester in the spring semester, and then have the summers off. Because here's the thing, summer's busy. I mean, Brent, Matt, and I were at a conference just last week. We would have missed our grow groups if we would have had it. So summers will take off, and then we start all over again that next fall.
So we're trying to recognize our busy schedules and how our lives are pretty cluttered. And so the commitment is semester by semester. Many groups will continue to meet ongoing, but we want to remove the shame of being in a group and then saying, okay, it's just not clicking, or my life has changed, my job's changed, I need to step out. So at the beginning and end of each semester, there will be an on and an off ramp.
And we'll tell our grow group leaders, hey, have that awkward question and say, okay, things might not have worked out, you might not have clicked, or hey, you got life change happening. We know some people are like, oh, we might have to have a baby. You know, we're scheduled next spring. It's going to be hard to do that. There's some snowbirds.
Did you just make an announcement?
No, I am. Let me be clear. I did not just make an announcement on that. I'm saying theoretically someone else.
Okay.
But yeah, so it might be a life change, job change, whatever, and we don't want you to be locked into a grow group, because here's what we found, all right, in our experience, is that there's kind of like a loyalty. It's like, okay, I signed up for Brent's grow group, but I can't really commit to every single week next week. I don't want him not to like me, so I'm just going to stick it out and then just not have good attendance that second semester. We want the leaders to embrace the awkward and say, hey, it's okay if you bow out this next semester. You can always re-sign up the semester after that and so forth. But we want people to be committed every single week for a semester.
Good. We're getting lots of questions, so we're going to get to as many as we can. Brent, when and how will these groups meet?
A grow group can meet anytime and anywhere they want to meet. So they can meet in homes, they can meet here at the church. So we have a large facility, so on Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we'll probably be able to find a room for you to meet if you meet in the church. If you meet in your home, you can meet anytime. Joan and I were visiting a small group a couple of weeks ago that meets Tuesday afternoons. They're all retired, and so they meet Tuesday. You can meet anytime, anywhere. There is one thing that we're going to hold firm on. Wednesday nights, when we have a big meal together and all the kids' activities and youth activities, Wednesday nights will be given priority to grow groups that have children birth through 5th grade. We know that childcare is a big hurdle to get over for young families. It's hard to get childcare. And so we want to reserve Wednesday night for grow groups where the participants have kids. And then they can participate in the childcare and in our kids' ministry up through really 8th grade. This is going to result in what may be the biggest adjustment for many of you. In the past, on Wednesday nights, we've had our big meal, and then we had all the activities. We have had grow classes, and we have had 175, 200 people jump in on grow classes where there's no commitment, you just show up. And some of the grow classes have had 20 people, some have had 80 or 90 people. We are not going to have grow classes this fall. And that's going to be hard. I was telling someone, I said in the first service, have you ever made a decision that made you sad, but you knew it was the right decision? That's this. I like grow classes, but we are so committed to launching grow groups that we have chosen to say on Wednesday nights, if you're in a grow group with kids, you get priority for the rooms. Okay, so we're going to fill every room and closet we can in church here on Wednesday night with groups with kids.
Good. I think some people aren't convinced I'm actually reading real questions. I think these are all staged. So if someone said, if you're tall, are you allowed to join a small group? Yes. Yes, you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a very good question.
Yeah, which is why they weren't given the mic.
Yes.
And anonymous.
Yes. Okay, a lot of people are asking, like, how are they divided up by topics? Or are they divided by stage of life? Like, how do we sign up for a group, and how are they divided?
Okay, I'll take a swing, and then Kyle will back clean up. So we will have a sign-up season in August where you can choose. You'll see on our website, we'll get it up going, mug shots of all the leaders and what they do. And some of the small groups.
Professionally done pictures, not mug shots, but yeah.
I'm talking. So some groups, like we'll have some groups that'll be men's groups, and the leader's picture will be there, and it'll say, this is a group for men. Some will be women's groups, and their focus is women in their 20s and 30s. Some will be for couples. Some will say, we're starting a group with kids. And so you will have an opportunity to sign up for a group in August that fits what you want, okay? If it's for me, I would have trouble, even as a flaming extrovert, I would have trouble joining a group where I knew no one. And so if I'll be leading a group, but if I were signing up for a group, I would grab a friend or two and say, let's together sign up for that group, okay? But how do you get in a group? You have to sign up online, okay? What else do you need to say? Keep it short.
Yeah, and so there'll be a sign-up period. There'll be about 4 weeks, starting August 9th and going to the end of August is where you can sign up and join the grow groups. And everything is going to be digital. So if you go onto the website, ridgepointwichita.com/grow, you'll see when we open sign-ups, you'll see the menu, if you will. And you can actually search, like, I'm only available Tuesday nights. And you can search by day, you can search by time, you can search if they have pets in the homes, if they don't have pets in the homes, all of that. And that way it gives you options. And then you just click that group, and you'll kind of basically request to join that group. And then the leader will then contact you and say, hey, great. We also have some leaders who are saying, we have a greeters grow group. And this greeter, or this group, wow, that's a new thing. Grow group will actually say, okay, anyone part of our grow group will be greeters. And so we're going to help and sign up every single month. And so if you want to be part of that group because you are a greeter or want to be a greeter, you can join that. And so it's pretty easy, and think of it like a menu to choose from.
Good. If someone who is interested in signing up to be a leader, and they asked, are there any specific qualifications to be a leader? And then another question was,
I would like to lead, but I'm kind of intimidated to have to pick the curriculum myself. I don't know what we would study if I were to be a leader. So how do they be a leader? Are there qualifications, and what kind of studies, how can we help them come up with curriculum?
Over the last couple of months, we've tapped on shoulders, and we already have 30-ish small group, grow group leaders committed. We want more leaders because we know there's more people that will want to join. If you want to be a leader, you can apply, sign up, just let us know, ridgepointwichita.com/grow, and you can click on the box, I want to be a leader, and click that. We'll get with you. There is a training where we want to walk everyone through. Yes, there are some requirements. You must be a Christian. You must be able to have some core of leadership ability and ability to lead people. But don't let that intimidate you. We want more leaders, okay? What was the other question?
The curriculum.
Curriculum. There are three options. The first is a sermon-based discussion, and that's what we're recommending for all grow groups. So we will put together a 3 to 5 page discussion guide with opening questions. If they want to do an icebreaker, a little Bible study, all kinds of discussion, that will be available every Sunday by 12 or 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, right after the morning service. We think it will be wonderful if most grow groups go deeper on the sermon. So that's you don't have to prepare like long hours. You're a facilitator of a discussion based on that Sunday morning sermon. There are 2 more options. Kyle.
Yeah. Right now, media, we have a subscription to that as a church for that. So if you're like, maybe the sermon series is about parenting and all of your kids are out of the house, so you don't necessarily want to join in on that sermon, then you can go to Right Now Media, and we have a library of pre-chosen curriculum, and hundreds are available, separated by men's studies, women's studies, parenting, whatever, and you can choose that. The third option is, let's say you found a book, or your group really wants to go through Ecclesiastes or something like that, or if you want to go crazy, Numbers, and you want to do a series on that, then you just kind of contact us. We'll help provide resources, curriculum, and what we want to do is we just want to know what our grow groups are teaching. But every grow group is a little bit different. You'll know your context, you know your people. And here's what I would also say about the leaders. We're not looking for, okay, you have to have seminary degree and you have to have Bible experience to where you have 4 years of teaching other groups. If you just want to ask questions and you can be somewhat of a good listener, the better leader, but you can listen, then you can be a grow group leader, because their goal is not to constantly teach the Bible. Their goal is to lead people so they can be hungry for God's word. And so you're more discussion-oriented than you are teacher-oriented. And there's another opportunity as well. Leaders are in charge of the discussion. Hosts are in charge of the environment. So if you don't necessarily want to lead a discussion, but you're good at providing snacks or providing a meal, or help, you can even provide your house because you have nice, cushy seats, then you can be a host as well. And so you can go on the website, ridgepointwichita.com/grow, and you can sign up to be a host or a leader. And we have some couples, actually. One spouse is a discussion leader, and one is the host. So you can do that as well.
Good. I think a good question some people are having is, they say, I'm already in a Sunday school class. Should I also join a grow group? And what's the difference between a Sunday school class and a grow group?
That's your decision whether you do both. Shoot the moon? Of course. So Sunday school, we love Sunday school here. We have 8 or 9 Sunday school classes. They meet at 9:30 and 11 during these 2 services here. So we're all for Sunday school classes. There's a great care net that happens in Sunday school classes. The difference between a Sunday school class and a small group or a grow group is a Sunday school class, while you may be committed, it's usually a larger group and you may or may not be there, and it's at best 1 hour. A grow group, it usually meets for an hour and a half, and if you eat supper together or something, it's 2 hours, and you're a smaller group of people who are committed to meeting every week. And so Sunday school is wonderful, grow groups are wonderful. They really accomplish 2 slightly different things. if your schedule allows, shoot the moon and do both, okay? But I don't want to live your life on how you're going to make that decision.
Good. Lots of questions about, like, how do I find the list of grow groups? What's the first step to sign up? Walk through the sign up process. How and when do we do that?
Yeah, you cannot sign up yet till August 9th. So August 9th, we'll open up registration and sign-ups, and then you have basically 4 weeks to sign up. And it's going to be literally a sign-up period, and after that, we're actually going to close the groups, because closed groups help provide vulnerability, which provides trust, which provides a greater opportunity for spiritual growth. If a stranger or a new person comes every single week, it's going to be hard to share some really deep personal information or prayer requests or even struggles. So that's why we close the groups each semester, and then we reopen them between the semesters. So you can't sign up just yet. Well, right now we're recruiting pretty heavily for leaders and hosts, so you can sign up for a leader and host. In fact, if you're interested in being a leader or host, we do have a training this coming Tuesday at 6 p.m., and you can kind of sign up there, or you can contact me. You can see me at the cart right after the service, or you can go to the website. But we have a training this coming Tuesday to check it out. You can attend the training, and then you realize, okay, I'm not quite ready yet. Or we got some training in August, too. So we have several opportunities, but that's going to be required if you want to be a grow group leader or a host.
Did you want to talk about the levels of engagement a little bit?
Yeah, one of the dynamics that's common in churches around the world is that in every church, there's usually a smaller group of people who do the majority of the work. That is, the higher the level of commitment, the fewer the number of people. And so we have, on a typical Sunday morning, 1,000 people in the big room here. And we have around 300 or 350 people in our church who are involved in everything and serve everywhere. They come to church regularly. They're maybe in Sunday school. They're in a small group. They're volunteering with kids ministry. They're singing in the choir. So this is common in every church. We have 300 to 350 people who are highly engaged. One of our top goals is to encourage the other 650 or 700 of you who love Jesus, who are leaning in, who want to follow him. But at this point, the extent of your engagement is the Sunday morning service. And we think God has more in store for you, that you need to step it up. Is it a sacrifice? Is it inconvenient? Was it some risk? Yeah. But God wants more for us than just sitting on our backsides for an hour every week. He wants us to move to the next level. And so one of our desires is to hopefully challenge and encourage those of you who love Jesus and you're here and it's all good to step it up and jump in on a small group.
And we want to make it easy for someone who's new or been here for maybe several months or even years, but have not really done anything outside of Sunday morning. And so we're kind of aligning all of our adult discipleship into one kind of group, which is grow groups. So we're not doing grow classes anymore, and our men's and women's ministry is on board. And so instead of women's Bible studies, there'll be women's grow groups and men's grow groups. So we're kind of aligning everything, because here's why. If someone's new and they want to know, okay, what's next? And they see 40 different options to sign up and to serve, to do this, to do that. That's kind of intimidating. It's kind of choice overload. So if we can just have one simple step, hey, the next step, join a grow group. Then you kind of learn more about what is Ridgepoint, get involved in a community, and then you can serve from there, grow from there. That's kind of what we want to do. That's our ultimate overall goal.
We currently have 10 or 11 small groups that have been meeting. And we've tried to tag with all of them, but one of the questions that came up in the last service, so sorry to take your job, Matt, was what if I'm in a small group? How do I become a grow group? Well, we would love for that to happen, because we want unity and solidarity across the board with our small groups. So if you are meeting with a Bible study with a group of people, and you want to become a grow group, we would love that. Two things. One, you need to commit to the up, in, and out, right? That's just a non-negotiable. That's part of the DNA of grow groups. The second thing is we want you to commit to meeting weekly in the fall and in the spring. because when you commit weekly, that builds trust and growth and growth in discipleship. So if you're in a current small group, we'd love for you to jump in, find Kyle or I. We think we've tagged with all the grow groups, but those are the two things we'd want most.
Good. Let's squeeze in a couple more here. So if I join a grow group and it grows, are we going to be required to split? I would not like to be split away from my friends. So if they join a group and it grows, how are we going to handle that?
So the ideal size for a small group is 10 to 15, 16 people. That's typically fills up a living room, okay? Much more than that, you lose out on the cohesiveness. But 10 to 15 or 16 is the group. So some of your groups will start this fall with 10 people. And if that's all that you have, fine. The next semester, we'd encourage you to open up and invite 3 or 4 others to join, okay? So, but yeah, the size is limited to 16, okay? Because often there's someone who can't be there, and that knocks it down to 15 or 14, okay? So if the question is, if our group grows, will we have to split? Well, we don't want you to have more than 16. So it's not going to keep growing, okay? You can choose, if you have a group of 16, hey, let's split into 2 groups of 8. That's fine. But we are limiting the size, so we don't actually let you grow beyond 16, okay?
There's really no easy way to handle growth. We're trying to handle it the best we can. One of the things to think about is how when the grow groups open up, and if everyone, like Brent has a grow group and everyone wants to join a grow group, it will really be the first 16 people who join his grow group. So if you're like, I'm going to wait till the end of August, you actually have less options, because once a group is full, it will come off the menu, and so that group will be unavailable. So it's kind of like we're looking for people who are hungry and interested, so sign up right away. But yeah, our space is limited, basements are limited, so that's kind of why we limit it.
Good. Okay, we'll wrap up right here. So real quick, is it only for Ridgepoint members? No. If you would like to join a group, we'd love to have you join a group. Someone said, can you explain up in and out again? That's what we're going to talk about the next few weeks. We're going to go a little bit deeper into up in and out the next few weeks. So come back and we'll keep talking about that. We are out of time. We had a few more that we didn't have time to answer. So last week we compiled a page on our website where we put all of last week's questions and answers. We'll do that again this week. So if we didn't get to your question, keep an eye on your email or the church's Facebook and Instagram. We'll have links to that this week. We'll answer those we can.
Can I say one last thing? I had someone come up to me afterwards. It's like, okay, why should I join this? I'm involved in 30 other things. I'm serving and all that. Here's what I tell. I tell the young adults, I tell the students, inconvenience is the price we pay for community. If you want community, if you want to be closer to friends, if you want friends, if you want spend time with your family, you got to actually inconvenience yourself and maybe sacrifice something in order to create space or room in your life for something else. So here's the thing. Community doesn't happen unless you first take that first step. So we're going to challenge people. If you're looking for community, if you're looking for something to grow in your faith, that's what this is. And it's going to be, yes, an inconvenience, but here's the thing. It's totally worth it. And we know that from our experience, and we're excited for that.
So, well, that's it. I mentioned at the beginning of my sermon that I went to this National Convention of Mennonite Brethren Churches, and I heard some great stories, but I walked away so thankful for you. Do you know that there are a lot of pastors that really don't like the church that they're pastoring? And I like you. There are a lot of pastors who wouldn't go to the church they're pastoring except that they're paid to go there. But I would go here even if I weren't. I am so thankful for this family here. Joan and I appreciate you and we love you. This is a great church, and we are so excited about the future. It's going to take some risk, it's going to take some faith, but it's going to be worth it. So buckle up for Deep and Wide. It's going to be great. God bless you. Have a great week. You're dismissed.
Hey, thanks again so much for joining us today. We're always so glad to have you watching and listening with us online, so thank you for being here. As we wrap up now, I want to hit a couple of big reminders for you as we enter into this very exciting season here at Ridgepoint. The last few weeks, we've been talking about Deep and Wide, this exciting new initiative where we're launching two really big things here at once. Our new Grow Group ministry and our fourth worship service called our Sending Service on Sunday mornings. And we truly do want all of us to go deep and wide in our faith. Deep in meaningful, engaging relationships, both with God and people, and wide, increasing our impact here in Wichita with, eventually, a new church campus in our community. So I encourage you to stay connected with us over the summer when we will share much more info and dive deeper into some specifics. You can also keep an eye on our website at ridgepointwichita.com/deep-and-wide. That page has all the latest info, a place to sign up to join our sending service. You can register to be a Grow Group leader and find some info about our upcoming Vision Nights. And this isn't just an extra tack on the end here, but we really invite you to pray. Pray for God to bless and work ahead of us as we enter into this exciting season. Pray for God to raise up Grow Group leaders and potential campus pastors, along with dozens of new volunteers for our kids and tech and facilities ministries. We have a huge vision for the future, and we would be helpless without God's leadership and provision. So pray with us that God would lead and guide this significant season for our church family. For now, again, we appreciate you carving out time to be with us today for this message and this service. And I hope we'll see you again next week as we continue to dive into this Deep and Wide initiative. So have a great week and hope to see you again real soon.